Hey everyone, welcome back. Brandon and Ethan are here again to discuss the Cubs, and things continue to just sort of keep getting worse.
I'm sick and tired of this, man. I'm sick and tired of this. Every time we come back on here, listen, I love my job. I love the Cubs, but what is going on? I have so many questions. There's nothing, there's no answers. Everything's on fire. I want answers. Oh my gosh. Jed Hoyer, I beg of you, please come to the stand and answer for your crimes.
Yeah, just it feels like every week we show up to record videos. It's like that community meme where Donald Glover walks in with like the pizza boxes and everything's on fire, and it just feels like what is going on? Like we're paying attention throughout the week, but every like five or so games, it just keeps getting worse. The ship just sort of keeps crumbling, and yeah, it sort of feels like the Cubs have just hit like a new low.
It really is a shame, and there's so many things we could talk about of why the Cubs have been having a rough season. I mean, we'll talk statistics in a second. I really don't think that the Cubs, and it makes me so sad to say this, I don't think that the Cubs are going to even. I don't think they even have a chance of making it to the playoffs this season, which is a shame because in 2023 we looked like we had kind of a rocky place when it came to making it to the playoffs, but it was not this bad come last year.
Yeah, I definitely say that, again, the Cubs were going to make the playoffs until their September collapse, but everyone had hope, that this would be, this year they put it all together for a full season. But as it stands right now, as of the recording today, June 27th, the Cubs are 7 games below 500, which is a problem. They are 11 games back of the Brewers in the division, which is larger than their biggest deficit they had all of last season in the division, which was bad. And their playoff odds for the division are 3%, and for the wild card and just playoffs in general are 6.5%. So things are not going well. Things do not project to start going well. Injuries keep mounting. Performance continues to be a problem for everybody. It just feels like since the end of April, the Cubs have just been a bad team.
It's really a shame. I was saying to you earlier, when we were off screen, when we both started this job, you started just about a year ago at Northside Baseball, and I started just about 4 months ago. Things were looking so kind of up in the beginning of the season, and to join a job where it's like, my God, the team is on fire. It is nothing but I think a challenge to kind of come together and say, is there any hope for the Cubs? But I think just like in any sport, whether it's baseball, hockey, football, basketball, Quidditch, whatever team you're watching, I think that's the fun of it too. As much as you want to pull your hair out watching somebody like, the Chicago Cubs, crash and burn, I think it also, you want to still have hope and say this is the diamond in the rough team that maybe they're going to turn it around, whether it's not this year, it's next year. I mean, the whole point of baseball and sports in general is to, no matter how good or bad your team is, you're still going to root for them at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course. Look, again, that's like you just said, it's part of being a fan, and not every season's going to go your way. I just think this season, especially, has been so frustrating because this was the end of the rebuild. This was, last rebuild, a decade ago. Cubs fans remember, they rebuilt for a couple years under Theo Epstein. 2015 came along and they exploded. They won like 98 games or something. They made it all the way to the National League Championship Series against the Mets. And they were a great team. It looked like things were coming together. And then obviously in 2016, they won it all. And this 2024 was sort of like the analog of this rebuild to that last rebuild, the 2015 and that last rebuild, except things have gotten worse. It feels like the Cubs are as bad as they've been since that 2016 team, which isn't technically true. Obviously, 2021 and 2022 were pretty bad seasons too, but the Cubs were supposed to be bad then. They're supposed to be good now. So it's just frustrating. I think I think so many fans were excited for this season, and now we're all just sort of resigning ourselves to the Cubs being losers again. And I don't even say lovable losers anymore. They're just losers. And so it's really unfortunate.